begin tonight with what is quickly becoming the Republican Party's presumptive next presidential ticket, Cheney-Gingrich 2012. The two most visible Republicans in the country right now, the faces and voices being presented as counterpoint to President Obama, are Gerald Ford's former chief of staff and the early 90s era Speaker of the House who led the Republican Revolution 2 Republican revolutions ago. Between them, Dick Cheney and Newt Gingrich hold as much official power as our recently graduated college intern Michael, who works part-time at a bar. Neither Mr. Gingrich nor Mr. Cheney hold any office. But boy howdy, have current Republican office holders embraced them. Former Vice President Cheney's national security speech yesterday at a D.C. think tank, that was promoted by the media and by Republicans as the Republican alternative to President Obama's speech on the same subject. Obama v. Cheney, Cheney v. Obama. And the Cheney cheering section is not just his own family anymore. It's stocked with Republicans who actually have been elected to public office. South Dakota Republican Senator John Thune, for example, said, quote, "On this issue, I think he's viewed by people across the country as being very credible and very knowledgeable. What he says carries a lot of weight." Credible and knowledgeable? Compared to what? A fruit fly? Credible and knowledgeable? This guy?
Simply stated, there is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, credible and knowledgeable. He is as credible and knowledgeable on national security as I am on baking or string theory. Nevertheless, Republicans are rejecting earlier common wisdom that Cheney was political toxic waste. They are now embracing him to the point where they're considering deploying him as a campaign asset in the next election cycle. That's according to Senator John Cornyn, the chairman of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. Asked if Cheney would be a good surrogate for Senate Republican candidates, Cornyn said, quote, "I think it depends on the circumstance on the race, but I'd be proud to appear with the vice president anywhere, anytime." That noise you hear in the distance is the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee popping champagne and renting party boats. Mr. Cheney has been omnipresent over the past few weeks. He's been unavoidable. CNN, Fox News, a radio station in North Dakota, CBS, Fox News again, the big televised speech he did at the American Enterprise Institute. He's done all of these things just in the last couple of weeks. And it's not just him, it's his daughter, too. Liz and Dick Cheney have become TV tag team partners. Her recent appearances, MSNBC, Fox News, Fox News, Fox News, ABC, Fox News, MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, and today appearances on CNN, ABC, and MSNBC. That last one for an entire hour. This morning, Liz Cheney was on ABC's Good Morning America, and she got in a big fight with Lawrence O'Donnell.
The question of whether or not enhanced interrogation is torture has been answered, and it's been answered legally. And it's not that Cheney or President Bush or anybody else believed it to be torture. The Justice Department of the United Lawrence, I let you go. No, waterboarding is not torture. Lawrence, are you going to let me answer here?
Great.
Waterboarding is not torture. It's a very and you ought to go. I would refer you to Attorney General Holder's
testimony. Why has this country prosecuted people for waterboarding?
Lawrence,
why did we do that?
Because they did a number of other things in addition to waterboarding.
Oh. Yeah, waterboarding is not torture. We prosecuted people for other stuff. You know, waterboarding was just a coincidence with those prosecutions, really. Between Cheney and his family, really their only competition in terms of pure visibility on behalf of the Republican Party right now is former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich, who has been on NBC, Fox News, ABC Radio, Fox News, The Daily Show, ABC, Fox News. The ongoing theme of Mr. Gingrich's recent TV appearances is this Jeremiah he's on, that Nancy Pelosi should resign her position as Speaker of the House. Why does he think she should resign?
In trying to defend herself, she went on to say that the CIA lies all the time to Congress. That is a terrible falsehood. She defamed, she smeared every single person who works for the CIA everywhere in the world.
She defamed, she smeared every single person who works for the CIA everywhere in the world. The same guy who delivered that shiny gold nugget of overreaching, overstated political opportunistic nonsense wrote this about a national intelligence estimate in 2007. He wrote, quote, "The NIE is so professionally unworthy, so intellectually indefensible, and so fundamentally misleading that it is damaging to our national security," thus smearing all 16 of America's intelligence agencies who contribute to things like the National Intelligence Estimate. Mr. Gingrich has embarrassed himself with this Jeremiad against Pelosi by calling for Pelosi's resignation. Even his fellow Republicans are telling Politico.com today that they are worried that they and he have overplayed their hand on this a bit. Nevertheless, despite that embarrassment, when the Republican Party was in need of someone to debate health care with Democrat Dick Durbin on this weekend's Meet the Press, they picked, drum roll please, Newt Gingrich. Yeah, the Republican Party has their leaders and they're sticking with them. Cheney Gingrich 2012, why not? Joining us now is Joan Walsh, editor-in-chief of Salon.com. Joan, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Rachel.
So the common wisdom here is that Gingrich and Cheney are some of the least popular humans in the whole country, and the Republican Party is hurt by them appearing to be the leadership of the party. But I mean, we're actually seeing Cheney's approval rating tick up a little bit recently. Is it possible that the common wisdom is wrong and these guys could be good for the Republicans right now?
I don't think in the long run. I mean, this is their Back to the Future tour, and I don't think it can help them. What you've got right now in the Republican Party is a party that's out of leaders, it's out of ideas, and so they've thrown up these two has-beens, or they've nominated themselves to go out on this trashing tour, trash-talking the Democrats. And, you know, I think it will not last. The problem is, I do think it's mixed because I think it does hurt Obama. He's having to answer Dick Cheney, although he's trying to act like he's not, and that's never good. I think there's a possibility that you could even blame his centrism on the terror issues and preventive detention. My God, whoever thought we would see this on the constant hazing of Dick Cheney. But here's the bottom line, Rachel. Dick Cheney may hurt Obama in small ways, but they don't have anybody to come back with. Newt Gingrich will never be our president, trust me. Put all your money on anybody but Gingrich. He cannot be elected in this country. So they really have nobody to serve up in 2012. And so even if these guys kind of soften up Obama and make our political discourse ugly for the next 3 years, I don't think that they're not going to get any traction because they have no leaders. So
in terms of the Republican Party coming back, which of course it eventually will, do you think that having Gingrich and Cheney in their leadership roles right now, does that mean that the Republican Party comes back like the party of Gingrich and Cheney, like the party of Gerald Ford's chief of staff and the House Speaker from 1994? Or do these guys just essentially hold a place and then they get supplanted by something totally new?
Well, I just don't know what the totally new is. I don't think Cheney has any intentions of ever running, but Gingrich is not quite declared, but he would like to be president. So he's not holding a place for anybody new. He's going to be out there throwing his elbows and making a problem of himself. Would the party ever get anybody younger, fresher, with better ideas and a more conciliatory style? I think that the Obama election told us that people want change and people were in the mood for something new. And the Republican Party, they've trashed Sarah Palin. Like her or not, she could have been an appealing figure, but they put her up too soon, and then they tore her apart when she didn't do all that well on the national stage. Poor Bobby Jindal got thrown before the Lions and didn't perform. Michael Steele is a punchline. So I think they're in a tough place. And, you know, the bottom line is, except for this notion of fear and trying to scare us all, they're out of ideas. They have no policy on reforming the economy, improving the economy. They have nothing to say on health care. They're really lost in the wilderness. And I think you saw with the Democrats for years that people thought it was about leadership, style. Oh, John Kerry wasn't quite the right guy. But it really is a question of articulating a vision for the future. And Obama did that. The Republicans have no one who's doing that right now.
Yeah, and of course, remarkably, President Bush is absolutely nowhere to be found. President Bush, his big public appearance this week was speaking to high school students in New Mexico. He's at least decided to keep his head down on this. Joan Walsh, editor-in-chief of Salon.com, thank you so much for your time tonight. Have a great weekend.
You too, Rachel. Thank you.